Everybody, this is Vegereness, and welcome to my brand new YouTube series on answering chess questions. Pretty straightforward. I go on a couple of different websites and try to answer as many different chess questions as possible. I used to play chess since I was 4. I still play chess now, although I am not as competitive. I now focus more on teaching chess full-time, whether it's adults or kids, and trying to hoping they achieve their dreams and getting better in chess. But I also do a lot of chess content now. I do a podcast, I stream on Twitch and YouTube, I go to different chess events and have a good time and hang out with fellow chess players. So let's see, I always wanted to do this and I think this is a good idea, and let's see what questions we can answer on today. So I think we're going to look into Quora, type chess, and see how many questions we can answer. Okay, well, we already have a very good, strong question. First one is, how can I improve my chess skill? Okay, so that's a very good start off, and it makes me think that when you say chess skill, you're not a beginner. Because if you're a beginner, there's a lot of ways you can get into chess. You can look up YouTube, have someone teach you just the way like I did when I was younger. But if you want to improve your chess skill, there's really 3 ways to improve this. The first thing you have to do is you have to practice. You have to get your reps in, you have to play some chess, and it's not just play one game a day. You have to play a good maybe 10-20 minutes worth of chess, whether you can get a good live game with someone, maybe at coffee time or outside of working hours, or you can just play chess online. Chess is very accessible, especially with phones. You can go on a lot of different chess apps and play chess, not even just with people, but with the computer as well, although playing against others is much more fun. And it's also what type of practice you're trying to do, because if you're trying to get better in chess and you're playing 1 minute or 3 minute blitz games, not recommended, because one of the things you have to do is give yourself time to actually think. Those speed games, they're really more on pattern recognition, having a good strong opening basis, and not trying to blunder right off the bat. So not really recommending if you're trying to improve your skills, especially if you're a stronger player. Then maybe blitz is good because you can try different openings and see if you can find a particular opening that works with your style. But if you really want to try and improve your chess skill, the number one part is reviewing your chess games. It's a really big thing. And I don't mean just necessarily using an engine, although using an engine is still better than not reviewing your chess games, but taking a step back, seeing the game from the outside, and just going through all the different moves. And anytime you've blundered or maybe you missed an opportunity, go back and see, is there a move that I could have done better? What is the better move in this situation? And as you keep doing that, your pattern recognition, your skills will recognize, and you'll be able to remember things a lot better for your next chess games. So that's my number one take on how to improve your chess skills. Review your games. How is the game of chess similar, dissimilar to life? Dissimilar. Well, I can definitely talk about why the game of chess is similar to life. If you really break down chess, it's all about how to make the best decision possible. And if you make a good decision, you get rewards. If you make a bad decision, there's a consequence. So that's already really good to learn, especially for kid development, that you want to try and find the right move to increase your chances of winning the game or surviving if you're losing in the beginning. And chess, it's kind of like a tree branch. You try to figure out where you are, and then you try to figure out, do I want to go this way or do I want to go this way? And the only way to do that is to try and calculate ahead. And it's just like life too. Do I calculate, do I want to go to college or university, or do I want to go to, do these type of jobs to gain a lot of experience and pay my bills and not have debt? There's 2 very valid strategies, and going far ahead, you can see down the road which path, what might happen 5 years from now going to university, or 5 years going to gain a lot of experience and in the workforce, and only you can decide if that's best for you. It's the same thing like chess. If you're in a middle game situation and you're trying to figure out what's best, you have to look at where you are now, because that's the most important part of chess. Because if you make a mistake, you lose right away. just like in life. But then you want to try and look ahead and figure out, is this which path is better for me? And again, you're also trying to consider your opponent too. For us in real life, I think the opponent is ourselves, and we need to figure out the best way to make ourselves better than what we are. So those are, to me, the similarities of chess. Finding a different path and calculating as far as ahead and making the best decision. Where it is similar compared to life, well, to me, the most obvious one is if you play chess and you lose, you get another game. If you lose in life, sometimes you might not be able to get another game. It could be game over, and you don't want that to happen. So you really want to make sure you make the best choices for the most serious of scenarios. Chess is still a game, and the best part is you can still come back and play another game, and if you don't do well or you lost, etc. So definitely the two, those are the two things I would consider as separation from life in a game. What is a good book for learning chess strategies? Okay, that's a very good question. And someone who's in their mid-30s, I used to read chess books all the time, so that was one of the best ways I got better. For chess books, it really depends on what your level is. So if you're someone who's a brand new beginner in chess and you really want to learn the fundamentals, or you want to teach your kid the fundamentals, the first person I can think of is my good friend of mine. Her name is Lisa Orlova. She's a women's candidate master. She's really well known in Toronto and like more in Canada in general for chess, and she's like a chess entrepreneur. She does all these things, like she teaches lessons, etc. Creates companies. Is the founder of Pub Chess, which is a very popular chess event in Toronto every Wednesday. But she also wrote a book for chess for beginners, and I can put an image here later. And that's a good way to get someone learning chess, because if your kids really like reading, give them a book and read it to them. If they like YouTube videos, go on YouTube. I'm sure there's a lot of individuals who create content on how to learn chess in the beginning stages. Like, that's a good way of learning too. But definitely for good books, Chess for Beginners, look that up. That's really great for beginners. If you're more of an advanced player, so right now I'm reading something called Emmanuel Lasker's like chess plan, or I don't know that I have the exact title, and I wish I could check right now. But that's a very good book for me, because you get to learn from one of like the greatest world champions of all time, and his style of writing, it makes sense for me. I could just read it and understand it. So there is never truly a good book or a bad book. It's up to the reader to figure out what's best for them. There's also like a lot of endgame books, or another chess book I really like too is like the top 50 Grandmaster games of all time. I think I read that like 10 years ago, and that was really fun too to read. So a lot of different recommendations. Honestly, best way to do it is go to Amazon, find a chess book that was reviewed like a few thousand times, and then see if that's the best one for you. Worst case scenario, just give the book to someone else. And in best case, you'll find a good book that you can get better in. My kids, 11 and 8, started learning chess. Is it a good idea to beat them sometimes in the scourge? Wait, I'm almost tempted to read the answers, but I think that'll be for another separate video. So I'm assuming beat them means you want to beat them in chess, which is fun. I get that part, but what do you mean by discourage them? I'm not sure what that means. Are you trying to discourage them from not playing chess? Because you're a terrible parent. Like, first of all, and I don't mean just in chess in general, very biased to it, but why would you ever discourage a kid from learning something and having fun with it, especially if it's sports? Like, chess is really great socially. You get to learn new things, and if you're playing sports like basketball, baseball, volleyball, soccer, etc., that's a lot of team building, a lot of things you can learn in chess. Learn in just being social and having fun with it. So I don't know why you want to discourage them from playing chess, but let's assume that I read the question. Maybe the question was written incorrectly, and it was like more of, should I win chess against my kids to make them better, or something of that nature? And there's nothing wrong with it. The key word for me when it comes to youth chess is encouragement. If you encourage your kids to get better or enjoy it more, they will likely play longer and maybe start wanting to really get better in chess. And there's nothing wrong with giving them a sense of realism that, hey, there are opponents that are stronger than you, and also people that are weaker than you. And if you want to get better, you want to learn and practice, I'm here for you to get better. And you can get chess coaches, Mike and myself. You can look at YouTube videos to get better. You can play at your local chess clubs. Very good ways to help kids, and especially in schools. There's a lot of chess clubs at schools. So if you have your kid in the school, whether it's elementary or high school or middle school, see if they have a local chess club there. And that's how they'll get better at chess. But the key one is encouragement and making sure it's fun. Does chess really improve thinking skills? It's hard to say. I don't want to... I'll try to be as objective as possible. Like, I've interacted with people who, I don't know, they don't make the smartest decisions in life, but they know how to make smart decisions on the chessboard. So I don't know if it necessarily improves thinking skills. Maybe it does, but it doesn't necessarily improve on deciding what the right action is. That's a whole other story. But in terms of thinking, yeah, I think so. I think if you play chess, especially if you play competitive chess, and you know how to think under pressure with like low time controls, or maybe you're playing against a very strong player and it's very intimidating, you're trying to figure out how to win from a losing position or lose from a winning position. There's all these stresses that can happen, and I think stress is actually really good to help develop critical thinking. So in that case, chess is very good at that, personally. So yeah, absolutely. I think overall, chess really does improve thinking skills, but doesn't necessarily help improve your decision making. Who is the best chess player presently in the world? It's Grandmaster Magnus Carlsen. Enough said. Is chess a measure of intelligence? No. Absolutely. Well, okay, you can have a really high IQ and be naturally good at chess, but it really takes hard work and effort to get better. But in terms of chess as a measure of intelligence, well, it depends. There's a lot of different type of intelligences we have. There could be, art intelligence or science or calculation or math, etc. So it is perceived as an intelligent game, but I don't think so. I don't think chess is a measure of intelligence whatsoever. My personal opinion. What is the best way to open in chess? That's a big question. I think the best way to open in chess, it depends on your level. If you're a beginner, then we're thinking about E2, E4, D2 to D4. If you're black, you're playing E7, E5, D7, D5. Those are very solid moves to make because for a lot of different reasons. Number one, you're getting center control. You want to put pieces on E5, D5, E4, and D4. Really key in order to help get better in controlling the pace of the game, whether you're offensive or a defensive player. Also, moving your key center pawns allows you to develop, which development is very important in chess. You want to get your bishops out, whether you're on F8 or C8 or F1 or C1. Those pawns moving from E2, D4 or D2, D4 allow your bishops to come out. Another thing too is just if you play more to control the center, you'll find you'll have an easier time in not blundering as much compared to moving pawns like H7 to H5, where you can become very cramped very shortly if your opponent just seizes the center. And it allows you to have less of a chance of making better moves. So, in my opinion, the best way to open in chess is find an opening that's very solid for you, that gives you good maneuverability, and you should be fine. What is the best sacrifice in the history of chess? I'm glad you said that. I actually have a blog. I'm gonna just pull it up right now. Let's go to Vegereness at Substack. And yes, my 10 favorite game sacrifices in the world. A lot of different ones, from anywhere from the Fisher King to the Game of the Century, but I still think the number one is the Kasparov Immortal. And if you can see here, He was playing against was it Tobolov? I'm not sure. But as you can see, white is Kasparov, and he's playing a very solid opening with the bishop e3 to bishop h6 move. And I'm just going to wait till we get to the actual sacrifice. But in this game, he's playing a really tough game. He gets a little bit of space, and he's trying to make progress into the king side. As you can see here, he has his knights on g3 or b3 and c3. So he's eventually going to infiltrate with knight a5, which he did it here. And this is where it begins. So black plays d5, queen does a check on f4. Rooks are now centralized. Black plays d4. Knight infiltrates to d5. There's a bit of takes. Queen goes to d6 to try and trade a queen. And there is rook x d4. And look at all the different sacrifices. And black had the option of taking the rook, but saw there was mating opportunity. So this is a game that I can't even explain it. Well, I could, but just in a different video. And it'll do it no justice. You have to really read and watch and see how the game took place. And as you can see here, Kasparov is just fighting all the c3 is a big one. So there's just there's nothing but different type of sacks here, from the rook sack to the pawn sacks. And as you can see here, black is clearly up a rook exchange, and it doesn't matter. Another rook sack to end it all, because now you're taking the queen on c4, and now it's just lights out. Kasparov won this game in a position that he could have easily lost, and he just found a way to make it win. It's very beautiful. It's definitely considered Kasparov's immortal game. And most importantly, it's probably one of the greatest sacrifices of all time. So, very good question. Very good answer, and that's how the game ended. What are some must-learn tactics for chess? Ooh, that's a very good question. I like that. So some of the best tactics to learn for chess, I think the easiest, so the ones that are very important for beginners is just knowing how knowing Scholar's Mate, knowing how to do it, like that type of style of winning, and also learn how to avoid Scholar's Mate, so learn how to defend properly. Know your tactics involving if your opponent's castles on the king side. So know your bishop like c1, or sorry, bishop like queen, like Gatling gun aiming at the h7 square or g7 square. Know those different styles of tactics, so that way you can try and pull them off in the game, or it's easier to see. I would even argue learning endgame tactics. Those are probably the hardest tactics to learn, and that's something that I would definitely focus on. How do you become a chess grandmaster? Well, it's very hard to do that. I believe there's maybe 1,800 grandmasters in the world. It's not that many compared to the active 500 million chess players out there, and maybe 300,000 of them are very super serious and competitive. But to become a grandmaster, you have to win something called chess norms. So you get a chess norm when you play in a FIDE tournament and you score a certain percentage of wins. So it might be 6 out of 9 wins or 5.5 out of 9, etc. And then the rating performance has to be over 2,600. I believe it's 2,600. And once all those are achieved, and your performance is calculated through a mathematical formula based on the opponents you played, the ceiling of the rating, the roof ceiling of the rating, so if everyone's 2,500, then that's definitely a chance to win a GM norm if you have a possibility. But essentially, you need 3 of those norms, and once you get 3 of those norms, and then you hit a rating of 2,500 ELO, then and only then you become a grandmaster. And it's a big honor. It's a lot of sacrifice, something that none of us normal human beings will ever truly understand. And it's very well worth it, I think, in my opinion. How do you win chess? Very good question. So you win chess by not capturing. You want to... so the whole goal of chess is to go after the enemy king and to checkmate them. And checkmate is when the king is in check and there's no way for it to escape from check. So there's 3 ways to get out of check. If the first one is to take the attacking piece, that's checking your king. Second one is to move your king out of the way, and the third one is to block the actual check. So let's say I have a pawn on, e6, and my king's on, f5, and there's a queen that's checking me on a5. If I push my pawn from e6 to e5, I'm essentially blocking the queen from checking my king. Therefore, that's how I can avoid check. And winning in chess is all about delivering checkmate. So if you're a younger player or I don't even say younger, but if you're someone that's new, that's trying to get into chess, you need to learn how to do checkmates, or else the game's going to keep going and there's going to be no end in sight. So learning how to checkmate with your king-queen, that's the most basic form of checkmating. Learning how to checkmate with your rook and king, very important too. And from there on, that's just play a lot of chess and get better at checkmating, basically. What are some amazing facts about chess? I don't know. I'm not even sure how many facts are there. Amazing facts about chess. Well, I think the biggest one right now is the chess boom that we've experienced during COVID. I think because a mixture of a global pandemic that basically shut the world down to a certain extent, and the release of the anime The Queen's Gambit, chess took off like none other before. And it was like the same type of boom like where Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov were in those days, or the Bobby Fischer boom of chess. We had a local boom in our generation because of those 2 things, COVID and Queen's Gambit, where people weren't really doing anything much at home, and they saw this TV show that was really well written, that the chess looked very accurate compared to other TV shows, and it looked very fun to play in. And so they decided to, let's play some chess. And all these websites, from Lead Chess, chess.com, etc., experienced massive booms in chess activity, new registrants. A lot of chess books and pieces and boards were being bought locally. I think the percentage was like 5,000%, like increase in sales, which is like, how is that even possible? But yeah, I think that's an amazing fact in chess. So to me, that just really, and then also all the competitive players in chess were playing more chess online. We're watching like more YouTube videos or reading from like Chessables and taking more courses. Those are all positives that just help. Now all the chess players have just gotten stronger all of a sudden because of years of kind of just not knowing when we're going to get back into the real life of things. So definitely some amazing facts. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm really enjoying this. And if you have any chess questions that you want answered, please write a comment below. I would love to do a YouTube video on questions answered, chess questions to answer from YouTube. That'd be a great thing to do. And if you want to see more of these, like, subscribe, and give me a comment. So thanks for tuning in, and peace.